What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Forge Sports Media Podcast. This is episode 23. It's our Jordan podcast.
This is our Jordan podcast. I'm Thomas Hampton.
I'm Trey Foshi. And let's just get right into it because we've got a jam-packed episode. There are several big names that we need to talk about that are on the move. We're going to talk about, like I said, several different players there. We're going to talk about a little bit of controversy between a player and a company that I think we need to iron out and discuss and, just look at some potential ways that could have been done better. We're going to talk about other notable contract signings that have happened because there's been quite a bit of movement. We're not going to cover everything today, but we're going to cover the notable signings. We're going to talk about some other top free agents, talk a little pop culture.
Yep.
And then finish it up with a little shout out to our wives.
We will.
But let's start out with Eagle McMahon.
As more than likely anticipated for a lot of us, just based on certain signings coming out, people posting about certain things, it was relatively imminent that Eagle was slated to leave Discmania. And today, in fact, he made his official Instagram post thanking Discmania for his time and letting it be known that he was headed off for different options.
Yeah, and Discmania made a similar post, just honoring Eagle's career. Mm-hmm. They did this thing like they did with Simon last year, where it said Eagle McMahon, 2014 to 2024, looking like he died.
Yeah.
But overall, Discmania seems to do a good job of thanking their athletes, especially their original guys in Simon and Eagle, when they've decided to leave. So shout out to them. They did a really good job with that, I think. And Eagle was obviously emotional. If you watched the video, if you haven't, go look at it. He did a really good job, but very emotional about the change. But one thing that he did pinpoint, and this is not a surprise, is that he would be doing a disservice to himself if he didn't take this deal, which makes me think we might get to see another contract value.
Yeah.
We might be seeing another 7-figure deal in the works.
It's relatively likely, and it feels relatively similar to what we saw just about a year ago when we saw Simon Lizotte exit Discmania for MVP, which is a brand on our list right here. And it would make sense when you're thinking, just historically speaking, that Eagle and Simon might play on the same team. There are definitely several options, but a deal of that size is exactly why Simon thought about leaving, and so you would have to think that this is going to be a 7-figure size, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I would say so. Eagle is a premier athlete. He showed that he could compete without a backhand, or without a forehand,
Right.
Had surgery this offseason, says he is as healthy as he's been. We've got to see him throw some Discmania, but I'm excited to see what he might be throwing. A lot of people are thinking MVP is where he will land, reuniting the Crush Boys.
Two-thirds.
Well,
And big Kyle Klein on there.
Kyle Klein became the third Crush Boy, yes, but the original Crush Boy.
Oh, geez.
But
there
are other options.
Yes, and one company that we've talked about, and when we released our circle tiers on brands specifically, Innova was a brand that we left in Circle 2, and there was a particular conversation that I had with somebody related to, like, why on earth would you put Innova in Circle 2? And this is what I think could bring Innova back into Circle 1. I love, like, the Innova brand. They've got some awesome people. Calvin Heimberg is really their, like, only, like, key athlete as of right now. Don't get me wrong. Jeremy Cullen, wonderful disc golfer, still can be competitive. Nate Sexton can still be competitive. Like
Gary Gerthy. They do have Owen Scoggins. She's right in her own right, but she's like
Haley King. Like, I mean, you've got
these players, but Calvin is the superstar, and he's the only one. Where these other teams, MVP's got Conrad and Lizotte. I mean, Discraft has
an insane lineup.
Prodigy is the same way.
Prodigy had. Again, we'll talk about Gannon later, but Isaac, Gannon, Ezra Robinson, you're talking 3 top 10 disc golfers right there by itself. Like, it is not the same when you're talking about top tier athletes, and Innova needs a pick-me-up right now. Whether or not any of you listening are willing to admit it, Innova needs a pick-me-up right now.
They absolutely do. They need a player like Eagle. And so Innova and MVP have both already announced their touring team, but it's not without
MVP had done the same thing last year, and then Simon comes through and
yeah. So don't let those announcements deter you from thinking that they're going there, especially because those are probably the two most likely options. The only other place that you would really think that could afford Eagle is Discraft. Discraft has not announced anything for this season.
They've not.
They've had a couple people leave. Solid Tipton, Chandler Fry, both gone. Not that that's freeing up a ton of cap space.
Totally.
But they haven't announced their team yet.
And Discmania is no stranger to going crazy when it comes to pulling in an elite team.
Yeah. And so it'd be exciting to see if Discraft, I just think that'd be incredible. Eagle McMahon and Anthony Barella going toe-to-toe throwing nukes.
It would be insane. Imagine their video last year. The team pops up over the crest of a hill, just right over everybody. But imagine the team you expect, and then it camera pans, and then Eagle McMahon right there, and then it just
I'm getting chills. Dude, I'm just getting chills thinking about that.
Discraft did a wonderful job on their team release last year. We talked about it a little bit, but that is definitely an option.
For sure.
I don't think anybody else has an opportunity to land Eagle.
No, I mean, you look at the other people that have space on the team. I mean, I do not see him going to Prodigy.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem to fit. I would not expect him to join any of the House of Disc teams. I originally thought maybe Latitude 64 would be a good fit, but I think you would just make the move a little more transitional.
Yeah.
In that way. Infinite's made a ton of signings this offseason. Not to say that they can't make one more, but it just doesn't seem like that's where he would wind up.
Right.
So I really think that these are the only three, and I'm leaning pretty heavily towards MVP.
I would agree that makes sense, and I think Innova is a runner-up, but I think there's a little space right there. So we'll see. I think historically it would make sense. So past that, do you have anything else on Eagle before?
No, let's jump straight into the Prodigy boys.
We've got Gannon Buhr and Alden Harris, both since the last time that we particularly had the podcast, have mentioned they are leaving Prodigy. And we knew they were both up. They were free agents.
We knew this was happening.
Yeah, and obviously back about a year ago, right as the All-Star event is going on, Gannon says that he's leaving Prodigy. Lawsuit ensues. This thing, that thing, the other. Gavin Babcock in the off-season of last season went to Discmania. You got Silas Schultz out there, both really good friends with Gannon and Alden.
So it just seems like it's a foregone conclusion. Alden joined the Discmania collectors group. I'm in there. I saw some things that he was liking. The guys love spreading some drama and making it really fun.
If you watch the video of Gannon saying that he's leaving, he drops the tagline for every individual. I'm going to reinvent my game. My game's going to be dynamic. This, that, the other. Those guys are funny and they love to mess with all of us. I mean, even that joining the Discmania group could be completely
It could be smoke.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger question, so we're pretty sure that they're going to wind up with Discmania.
Right.
Is there a chance is there even a chance that they split up?
It's a hard one. I mean, and really what you're here for is if you're listening, you may have already heard tons of this stuff again and all into Discmania, but where else? Where are they lying? You've got the where you think could make sense given a lot of recent news.
Yeah, well, I mean, this even goes back to last year, but and this would just be for Gannon. I think if they were going to split up, I think Alden would wind up at a Discmania or Innova Discraft, one of those three. I think that's where, probably not a VP. I'd say Discmania, Innova, Discraft are probably Alden's three.
Right.
Gannon is hilarious, and he's also an incredible disc golfer that could make any discs work.
Right.
So I'm not going to go as far to say that he's going to go with Franklin Discs, but right before the lawsuit with Prodigy kind of went through, Gannon posted a video of himself throwing Warbird.
Yes.
The video didn't last very long.
No, he took it down within 14 minutes. I think I'm the one that saw and maybe I screen recorded it. I can't remember.
Yeah, and so he he was supposed to have a video throwing a Lonestar Warbird. Gannon to Lonestar seems like the biggest meme possible. And if there was ever a player that was going to do a meme like that, it'd be Gannon.
It would be Gannon. And it all makes sense. I mean, Emerson Keith. And we'll talk about some of this other stuff, but there are several people from the Lonestar team that aren't on the Lonestar team anymore. Chandler Kramer's gone. Emerson Keith is off. I mean, I feel like I'm missing people, but like those are two like large names.
Lisa Fakis left. There were a couple, JT Rye.
Sure. But that team has had some pretty significant cuts, it feels like.
Almost definitely.
So we'll see what happens there. But I think that's a good second, as an alternative. Like, I don't think he's going Discraft or Innova. Like, it definitely seems like he would do something like that.
Yeah. But wherever Gannon goes, and really wherever Alden goes, they're both going to succeed. They're excellent golfers. They're both top 15 players in the world. And I think they'll compete at the highest level.
I agree.
Regardless where they go. Maybe not at Franklin, but...
Maybe not at Franklin. Now, to stay on the what's happening at Discmania train, we've got Niklas Antila leading Discmania.
This was shocking to me. I did not see this coming from anywhere.
I would have thought he was going to stay there. I think maybe we talked about his free agency, and I said there was a chance that he might have gone to like a Prodigy or something like that.
I think I may have actually said Discraft, but when we talked about that, but that was more of Vault.
Joking.
I was trying to talk big, but here we are.
Yeah. Now, prior to him posting, one thing that was funny is he posted a picture of him like buying like a BMW or something like that. And then,
yeah, really nice car.
Like a super sick black BMW in the midst of like the snow. Like, thing looked clean.
Yeah.
And then the next day he drops, "I'm leaving Discmania. Thank you, Discmania."
So
the whole 9 yards.
There's got to be some kind of big deal coming. You're not going to just like go and drop all this money on a luxury car.
Right.
And then not have something big lined up.
Exactly.
So
while all of that's going on, we see a picture that pops up with Trey. Who would you like to say is in this photo? We've got
James Proctor made the post.
We've got Eric Oakley.
We've got new team member to Infinite and Thought Space, Chandler Fry.
Yep.
And a couple other folks. And Niklas
Antila, all with their shorts pulled up really tall. And
it's a really funny picture.
They're like
having a good time.
Pulled in to be tank tops. And so it seemed very likely because, honestly, I'm pretty sure that picture dropped. And then did Chandler Fry post his after that?
So
I feel like there's
Chandler Fry said he was leaving. Niklas said he was leaving. Picture posted.
And then
Chandler Fry announces his sponsorships.
Which it seems to like... convenient. I mean, it's similar to Gannon Buhr being around Kyle Klein a little bit this week.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
see that.
we're talking about high percentage plays. Like, that's more than likely. But, like, these are similar things right here. Niklas is spending time with those people. And it's, okay, is he going the Infinite TSA Clash route? Now, we consider those three because we feel very, like, close to, like, EO and, like, the JP side of things. But you've seen Chandler Fry only be on the Infinite and TSA side.
And the same thing with Lucky Lord. I can't say her last name. Lucky is Lorenzen and Allie Smith have all gone the Clash, or excuse me, the TSA Infinite route. Have not announced Clash yet. Maybe that's coming later. But and I've also noticed that Erica Stinchcomb has removed Clash from hers, and she added Trash Panda. That's awesome for Trash Panda. But,
yeah.
So I think there's really three options for Niklas at this point. I think there's the traditional Infinite route.
Yeah.
I guess we'll say four because I think there's a wild card in there. I think there's the traditional Infinite route with Thought Space, Clash. I think there is just Clash Discs potential.
That could happen.
He's Finnish. He's the best Finnish player in the world. It's an up and coming company. They could go all in on their hometown kid and say, "Hey, we want you to represent us. We have a full lineup now. You could use all Clash discs," and they could really make it work. And so that's a possibility. I think Prodigy is a legitimate possibility, especially with just the European presence of Prodigy. Vino being just such a they're good friends. have done traveling together and things like that. And so you could see Vido and Niklas team up as Prodigy Europe just continues to grow.
There really is, yeah.
And then
The infinite route seems more likely.
Discraft might be a sleeper.
Could be. Have they lost anybody this offseason?
Like I said, Chandler Fry, Sullivan Tipton.
You're like,
Chandler Fry's a great player, and so is Sullivan Tipton, but not these guys.
we're not talking like they're
not needle movers.
Yeah.
Like, Fry is a needle mover at Infinite. He's not a needle mover at Discraft.
Right.
And so...
Like, was Fry on the Ledgestone?
He was on the tour team, which is effectively the Ledgestone team. But Discraft doesn't really have a huge European presence. They signed KJ Nybo. And so I think that they should sign Niklas, but I just don't think it'll happen.
Sure. We'll see how that one plays out. I'm sure we'll hear about that prior to the next time that we post. I feel like, or no, he mentioned in a couple weeks. So honestly, it might be a couple weeks before we hear something. That's what he said in his post that he made like just a few days ago.
Right. And so we'll see how that shakes out.
You want me to let's talk about Macy.
Yeah, we need to talk about Macy.
We're Knoxville based. Macy Veladiez, who is a local of Morris, is she Morristown specifically?
Yes.
Was the TD of the first tournament I ever played.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
But
her and Jamie were running that. But, Macy Veladiez, amazing FPO disc golfer, was signed with Dynamic Discs for a period of time and recently has mentioned that she will not be part of Dynamic Discs this upcoming season.
Yeah, and she actually made a pretty, I'm actually going to pull it up real quick.
I've got the second post.
The one, the new one?
Yes.
Okay, let me pull up.
You want to grab the first one?
Yeah, let me grab that first post, because I kind of want to read of some of what she said here.
No, that's the second one.
Oh, this is the one that I was...
Oh, okay, then not...
Yeah, so she said, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I just wanted to shed some light on the recent announcement that I will no longer be representing Dynamic Discs. Jamie and I found out that I was pregnant a few days after the Pro Tour Championships. At this time, I had been approached by a few other companies, but after discussing with Jamie, we decided that staying with Dynamic Discs would probably be best, since I had been with them for 3 years already. Before I posted or announced I was pregnant, Dynamic Discs sent their first offer. After feeling like I had played a good season, their offer was not what I had expected, but that's neither here nor there. After a phone call with my team managers, I let them know I was pregnant.
I told them I had talked to a doctor and decided on playing 10 tournaments next year, 9 Pro Tour and 1 All-Star event. We discussed what would be the best route considering I wasn't playing a full tour. Our next time talking, they sent me a different offer, which was unfortunately too low for us to travel. After looking over it, I decided to step away and look elsewhere. Regardless of the current situation, thank you for taking a chance on me 3 years ago, Dynamic Discs, and proceeds to thank
the manager.
The particular thing here is the idea of sponsorship as a long-term relationship and the idea of employment as it relates to effectively FMLA. Like, not that this is going the legal route in particular, because I would assume this is like a 1099 contract type idea.
Probably.
But yeah, this is a tough scene where generally her offer was lower than she wanted already. And then the pregnancy aspect came into play in terms of their discussion, which was probably going to be brought up regardless, even if it was a high enough offer. And then the follow-up was even lower.
Right.
It was too low.
And so this is a hard line here.
It is.
It's not black and white, because the solutions are right in front of us. They're especially in the line of work of professional sports, and disc golf in particular being a niche professional sport. Mm-hmm. There's not been really a ton of room for something like this to occur, especially with the growth that's happened in disc golf.
Yeah.
You would expect, in a normal job, like a normal 9 to 5, someone gets pregnant, she is going to be able to have maternity leave.
Right.
And and there's compensation for that, and there's ways of working through that. But obviously Dynamic Discs didn't really have a great way of doing this. And so they lowballed her. And man, I think they missed an opportunity.
I think they did as well. This is one of those things where I don't think you can as a company, I don't think you can let pregnancy come into play when you're building a relationship with somebody, because I think somebody like Macy, not that I can speak for every, woman in general, like obviously I don't want to like speak for women as a whole, but
right.
You're going to earn somebody's long-term trust and dedication when you like are there for them in the midst of like pregnancy. And like, yeah, sure, hop in, sign in, lock in a 3-year contract with somebody and say, I'm ready to double down on you, but you need to do the same for us in the midst of doing this. Boom. You take care of the situation, and Macy's probably willing to step in and make a long-term deal.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like Macy would have jumped all over that. She enjoyed being on the team. Zach Melton's the team captain.
They're like, boom, like this because they're from the same area.
Right. And so you see like this happen to somebody like Macy Vela-Diaz, who is an all-star.
Yep.
She is a needle mover on the FPO side.
She is.
And you see these things happen, and you have to wonder, like, what did Dynamic Discs think was going to happen? They're going to receive a ton of like flack for this.
Yeah.
And they could have gone so many different ways. But we're in her post where we cut off there. She does mention that it might be hard to get a manufacturer to sign her.
Sure, which is a fair statement. That at this point, most people have had their discussions. They've already started spending their 2024 budget.
But if I was any disc golf manufacturer, I would jump at the chance to sign a top 10 FPO player like Macy. And so I don't know where she's going to wind up. We don't need to really speculate on that one too much.
No.
She did sign an apparel sponsorship with Cardinal Disc Golf. So shout out to Cardinal Disc Golf for picking up an excellent player. And I saw someone recommend this on Instagram, and I just want to double down on it. There needs to be some baby Vela-Diaz apparel.
I was telling Trey, I think beanies make sense. I feel like those are like something you can like long-term wear and hold on to. Like, onesies, making sizes and stuff could be hard, but it would be so freaking cute.
Oh, it would be so good. And like Macy's the perfect person to like market that with. She would be all over it. She even posted recently that she loves making pregnancy content on social media. So,
which is, she's like posting TikToks left and right. I love it.
And so somebody needs to pick her up and make some things happen. But we're excited for her. I mean, sounds like she's going to be at the All-Star weekend, which is well-deserved and earned. Mm-hmm. But I think that kind of covers what we had on Macy.
Yeah, we'll talk about other contract signings that we've got here. I mentioned it earlier. Emerson Keith signs with Innova, though the notification on it came by people looking at the Innova website and people on the team on there, and so it didn't get to go and say the way he probably wanted. Though somebody like Emerson probably not going to lose a lot of like huge media coverage over it. It's still not exciting.
People found it. It kind of created some buzz that it didn't get posted the way that most did. So
I would be a little upset if that's how people found out about it. I'd say, like, come on, like, you're not going to let me, like...
Let me make a post, or you guys make a post.
Or you need to help me out, and we need to make, like, more of a hype video to make this happen and make up for doing that.
Yeah, and
Emerson, you should be negotiating that bad boy. Never split the difference.
That's right.
We've got Lucky Lorenzen.
Yep.
Over to Infinite TSA, like we mentioned.
As well as Chandler Fry and Allie Smith.
Bango. And we've got Tristan Tanner going over to DGA.
Which this was I saw that this move was coming from a while away. I think this is showing where Discraft didn't quite have the space for a player like Tristan Tanner, but he spent a lot of time with Adam Hammis and Anthony Barella, kind of ran around with that crew. So it's not surprising to see him jump on the DGA team.
Yep. Outside of that, we've got several free agents that we think are more of the top level at this point that we haven't discussed prior. Obviously, Eagle, Gannon, Alden, Niklas,
Macy.
Yeah. But in terms of here, we've got Chris Clemens.
Yes. And as well as Hannah Wynn, Chandler Kramer, Parker Welk, and Lisa Fakis. You notice two of those names are from Lonestar.
Yeah.
Two of those names are from the House of Disc group.
Yep. And then Parker Welk leaving Prodigy. We'll see where he ends up at.
Yeah, I think that's one of those moves where it's like Prodigy has so much young talent that they have to make cuts somewhere. And Parker Welk tour. He won on tour this year. He's an excellent player. No idea where he's.
Power forehand.
Oh man, a dream.
Top 5.
A dream forehand. Yeah, top 5 easy.
So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, I don't really have much speculation on where these people go. I'll be interested in probably Chandler Kramer the most out of this, because I think that'll shed some light on this whole like Lonestar situation once it all happens.
Yeah, I think so. It's interesting. That was the one person I did not expect to leave.
Yeah,
Lonestar, but
he seemed very, very committed. Also, you mentioned earlier on the Emerson Keith thing, you said because of that ad that I love playing every time.
Oh yeah,
it's the lucky shots.
No more lucky shots.
No more lucky shots. Emerson, if you ever watch this or we connect, I really need you to make that again, but with whatever, or with Innova. I need that to be in one of your
absolutely. He definitely
bits.
Needs to happen.
Past that, Trey, you want to talk about a little pop culture?
Yeah. So transitioning a little bit from the off season, there's not a whole lot more going on, but we made it. Disc golf made it onto The Simpsons.
It did. I mean, that's the longest running like TV show, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. It's got. I think they're on like 25th or 26th
like
season, something like that. Somebody can correct me in the comments.
I've not historically actually watched The Simpsons at all.
I used to watch it a decent bit. I think it's hilarious. It's. I mean, it's got some crass humor, but
sure, but it's not nearly. It's not like Family Guy type like crass humor.
No, it's so. I watched it growing up. It's a fun show. I haven't watched a ton lately, but I definitely watched when I saw disc golf on there.
Right.
And Homer and Bart kind of fixing the tournament.
Right.
Using leaf blowers and calling dogs, which it's good fun. It's in The Simpsons, but specifically they actually did research. They put Ken Climo's name on a poster.
Yeah.
Like that you can clearly see.
Which at that point they actually did disc golf a service by like putting Ken Climo's name on there.
Yeah, because somebody's going to notice that and like, oh, Ken Climo, the Tiger Woods of this.
Yeah.
Like, we need to, who is Ken Climo? And it continued down a trail. And so, thank you, Simpsons, for making this happen. We are, as disc golfers, we're very thankful. This is good for the sport to have pop culture references to show us. I've noticed a couple of different times that disc golf has showed up. Disc golf showed up in Zoe 101 back in the day. Was in 22 Jump Street at the very beginning.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you go back and watch it. It's like in that first scene where they're in the park.
It's kind of fun.
You can see a couple baskets. But just these pop culture references had me thinking, like, how do we continue this? And it just kept on going. It's like, who would I want to like play disc golf with? Who would I want to have on a card with me to like, even if it was just a film, but like, so I thought we'd make it a game.
Sure.
So we're gonna make a card of 5.
So one being ourselves and 4 others.
So we're gonna pick 4 people to play with us, and it's like, I mean, you could pick disc golfers, but
you can pick
literally
whatever
any.
you want.
And I'm not limiting this. You could pick fictional characters. You could pick dead or alive.
Sure.
So since I came up with the idea, we'll just go back and forth. We won't snake this one.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
there's a very large amount of things and people we could choose.
Yeah. So you can go first.
I mean, I feel like I have to start off with a disc golfer that like is really good, and I think I would love to play around with Calvin Heinberg.
Calvin would be a good one. He's gonna he's gonna be really chill. He's gonna make the card seem really fun and chill.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be like out there trying to impress these bigger names that you're gonna put out there.
Like, I want to have a good time with him, and I feel like he's gonna have everybody else having a really good time while showing them insane disc golf.
Absolutely. I'm going to go that route a little bit later. Actually, I'll just jump on that one right now, too. I'm going to take a player that's going to do a similar thing. He's going to provide a lot of just show off the sport, but not be overly flashy. I'm going to take Chris Dickerson.
There you go. Very nice.
Good old country boy.
Good country boy. Amazing disc golfer. Local guy.
We love the Tennessee boys.
From good old Gray, Tennessee. That's the town that my brother and sister-in-law live in, which is right outside Jonesboro, where Brace is from.
Cool.
I think next on there, I feel like I would want to pick just like a general athlete. That's a tough one overall. I think I'm going to pick Roger Federer.
I mean, it makes sense. He's very well known. Tennis is a worldwide sport.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who Roger Federer is.
Like, I watched enough tennis with my dad to just, like, watch him and Rafael Nadal playing all the time. I feel like it'd be fun to bring somebody in. And I didn't really watch any other professional sport very much. And so I think that would be my pick.
So it's got me, Chris Dickerson. I got to take probably the biggest celebrity in disc golf. And no, I'm not going to say Bert Kreischer. I'm taking Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Everyone who is watching the video, who watches the video, is going to recognize Bill Nye. We all grew up watching Bill Nye videos. Let's be real. And so, as fun as Bert would be, I just feel like the nostalgia of having someone like Bill Nye the Science Guy would just make it perfect. I feel like him interacting with Chris would be hilarious.
There you go.
And so I think that you just want to have somebody who actually does play the sport, because he does play.
He does.
He was really into Ultimate back in the day, and now he's transitioned to more disc golf. But someone who knows the game but is going to be recognizable to the general public.
Yeah, that makes sense. Not necessarily similar, not quite Bill Nye, but I'm going with somebody sort of in the Ultimate realm, but Marquez Brownlee. I don't know if you know Marquez. He makes tech content. Brody would know who Marquez is, but he plays a ton of professional, like, Ultimate Frisbee.
Oh, cool.
But he's like a 5 to 10 million subscriber YouTuber that makes tech videos. And I love watching this guy, and he's a big Frisbee advocate.
Sweet. So that's an easy in right there.
Yeah.
A lot of folks know who that is. And so, like, that's an easy in. So for my next pick, I'm going to go down the pro athlete route. I got to get Lionel Messi.
There you go.
He's the most recognizable person in the world. Everyone knows who Lionel Messi is.
Yeah.
People, like, in America might think, oh, why didn't you pick Tom Brady? Why didn't you pick Peyton Manning?
Yeah.
No. Messi is the most famous person in the world.
He is the most famous.
And so he's an athlete. He could figure out disc golf. And so I'm going to put him in there with Chris and Bill Nye.
All right. Who do I want for my last person? I was gonna say my wife, but she wouldn't want to come play disc golf with me.
She would not.
She would just be like, "Who are these people? I don't know these people. I don't want to play disc golf right now." Given the people I've taken and the fact that I've got Roger Federer on there, I'll take my dad with me.
Oh, your dad would love that.
Dad would not care that much for disc golf, but he would be glad to be along with me. And I think Dad would have just an absolute blast.
I think he'd just talk to Federer the whole time.
That'd literally be what Dad would be there for.
Man, that's a good pick. I like the pick close to the heart there. I'm trying to think, like, what kind of personality I would want on the course. Oh, I know it. I'm taking John Cena.
This dude grew up on WWE.
Oh yeah, I did. Still follow it to some extent, but like, oh my gosh, can you imagine how much fun? Because like, if you just see John Cena, like, his personality is just, it's easygoing.
Yeah.
He's gonna interact with Bill Nye super well. He's gonna, he's probably knows Messi. He's gonna have that fun interaction.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be super humble with guys like me and Chris.
Yeah.
Especially me, and bottom of the totem pole there. But I think, like, that card is going to get people watching.
Oh, yeah. Before we hop off there, I do want to discuss the brief pickleball. We don't get to discuss it too often. We're in the offseason in general, but with signings moving around, we have the Tyson McGuffin, the world number 2 right now, leaving Selkirk, one of the top pickleball brands, for Jula Pickleball, which is where Ben Johns and Colin Johns, Ben Johns is the number 1 pickleball player in the world.
And then Colin is typically his doubles partner.
He is. And so, like, now Colin doesn't quite typically make it to, like, I don't know if he plays singles as often, but Jula is about to be absolutely stacked this year.
It's like, for the non-pickleball folks, this is like if Discraft signed Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Simon.
Really, if you just took if you had Simon and Eagle on MVP, Like, I mean, it's that kind of move that we're talking about. It's just an absolute power move.
Yeah. And John's is more like a Ken Climo as opposed to a
Like
Paul
a Paul
McBeth.
in terms of like historical and whatnot.
He's just a dominant winner, winning all the time, winning almost every event.
And the pro scene is definitely developing at this point in time. And so disc golf has surpassed that. It's the same person winning every single event, or the same two people winning every single event. We've just seen a historic season of there almost being no repeat winners. I mean, very, very close to that.
Yeah, I mean, very few repeat winners.
And so hopefully we'll see more of that in pickleball this year as more athletes. You mentioned Jeannie Bouchard. I think it's Bouchard.
I just saw it on Instagram.
Large tennis-related influencer moving over to playing pickleball. And so I think you'll see more of that. People that historically would have gone and played pro tennis moving to play pro pickleball. And I think you'll start to see parity very quickly because the money is getting there. Like, I mean, the money, honestly, could very well be, like, getting close to surpassing disc golf. Like,
If it hasn't already.
Yeah, so we'll see. Before we end it,
yeah, we got to shout out our wives. We've talked about them a couple of times, but check these hoodies out.
these look sick.
And they feel great. They're super soft, super comfortable. Can definitely play disc golf in them
Yeah.
in the colder temperatures. But our wives surprised us with this.
I mean,
for Christmas.
Trey's wife reached out and was like, hey, like, I'm looking to get a Christmas present for Trey. Like, I want to make an ornament for him. Could you send me, like, the logos and stuff? And I was like, oh, yeah, here's the logo, and, like, here's the, like, color and everything. And then, boom, on my birthday, Grace has me open this, and then Trey FaceTimes me, and then we're like, oh, my God.
They were both wearing them, and it was great. It was a
sick.
great time.
So these look wonderful. So
Shout out to Rachel and Grace.
these are solid. So I think we've covered everything for the podcast. I mean, honestly, I don't know how long this has gone, but it's one of our quicker ones. But hopefully we'll have more insight here in the next week or two as it relates to Gannon, Eagle, Alden, and Niklas and the others.
Yeah, and we're going to be moving more towards a more regular schedule of posting at this point.
Without going into details, it's been a wild last, like, month and a half for both of us.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my Lord, it's been nuts. But we're on the far end of it for the time being.
We're just slowing down, which means more content for you guys.
Yeah, and then we're excited for more sunlight so we can get out, actually film and play. We'd like to get back into that rhythm. So we appreciate you all for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe. It would mean a ton to us. We're almost at 100 subscribers. Like the video, that pushes us up in the algorithm. And if you could go to our Instagram page and follow us there, go to our TikTok.
Follow us there as well. And once we get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to do a little giveaway.
We'll be able to make that happen for y'all. So make sure to make that happen. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all in the next one.
Thanks.